younger women aren't just attracted to looks or money, they're drawn to something deeper. Something most older men don't even realize they have. In this video, we'll explore the 10 types of older men that younger women find irresistibly attractive, not in a flashy or superficial way, but in a way rooted in emotional maturity, quiet strength, and genuine presence. This isn't about chasing validation or playing games. It's about understanding the quiet power of character, purpose, and authenticity. If you're an older man who values growth, calmness, and meaning, or you're just curious about what really stands out to younger women, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe to Psychology Tips for daily insights on Stoicism, psychology, and how to carry yourself with presence and purpose, no matter your age. Let's begin. Number 1. The emotionally grounded man, why he stands out and what makes him so appealing. In a fast-paced world, dominated by constant distractions, impulsive reactions, and emotional volatility, one type of man stands out in quiet contrast. The emotionally grounded man. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't panic under pressure, and he doesn't allow fleeting emotions to control his decisions. He is calm, steady, and centered. And because of this, people, especially younger women navigating complex emotional environments, naturally feel drawn to him. But this is not romantic by default. It's deeper. It's about respect, safety, and the rare comfort of being around someone who isn't easily rattled. Let's explore the reasons why the emotionally grounded man is so compelling, and what truly sets him apart in today's noisy world. Number 1. He responds. He does not react where others might lash out or become defensive. The emotionally grounded man pauses. He considers the situation before responding. This makes every interaction with him feel more intentional and less chaotic. People can talk to him without fearing they'll trigger an overreaction. This calmness under pressure is magnetic, not because it draws attention to him, but because it creates peace around him. Number 2. He knows the source of his emotions. He's not controlled by unexamined feelings. When he feels upset, sad, or anxious, he knows how to step back and reflect. Why do I feel this way? What's the truth behind this emotion? This self-awareness gives him inner clarity. Instead of blaming others, he investigates himself. This makes him trustworthy, not just to others, but to himself. Number 3. He's safe to be around. People don't walk on eggshells around him. His energy is consistent and his presence is emotionally safe. This doesn't mean he lacks emotions. Far from it. It means he handles his feelings responsibly. He doesn't project his bad day onto everyone else. He doesn't make others target of his frustration. That reliability earns deep respect, especially from younger women who may have experienced emotional instability from peers. Number 4. He doesn't need to win every argument. Emotionally grounded men don't let ego lead the way. They're not interested in proving themselves right at all costs. They'd rather seek understanding than dominate a conversation. This makes discussions with them productive, not combative. Their humility is strength, not weakness. Number 5. He stays true to his principles. While trends and emotions change, the grounded man holds steady to his core values. He's not swayed by every emotional wave. He's developed a strong inner compass, built from experience, reflection, and growth. This consistency is incredibly attractive on a human level. People know what he stands for. They trust him because he's not constantly shifting just to fit in. Number 6. He makes others feel calm. Just being around him lowers the emotional temperature. Hedison tried to fix people, but his calmness is contagious. His presence gives others permission to relax, breathe, and express themselves without fear of judgment. He doesn't fill silence with noise. He doesn't rush conversations. He listens patiently. But patience isn't just a habit, it's a reflection of his self-control. Number 7. He learns from his emotional history. He's not emotionally grounded by accident. Often, he's lived through intense situations. He's met the mistakes, he's faced emotional storms, and he's taken the time to learn from them. This gives him depth. It's not just that he seems calm, it's that his calm is earned. Younger people who are often still figuring out how to handle their own emotions feel a kind of emotional mentorship in his presence, spoken or unspoken. Number 8. He doesn't chase drama. The emotionally grounded man doesn't seek out conflict. He doesn't need drama to feel alive. He knows that real life happens in the quiet moments during reflection, honest conversations, and meaningful acts. This simplicity stands out in a world that often rewards chaos. He avoids gossip, manipulation, and unnecessary tension. That integrity creates emotional trust. Number 9. He holds emotional boundaries. He knows when to say no. He knows when to step back. He doesn't absorb everyone's emotional weight as his own, nor does he try to control others' feelings. He holds space for people without losing himself in the process. Younger women who often feel emotionally stretched or overwhelmed by social expectations admire this kind of balance. It shows a level of emotional intelligence that brings peace instead of pressure. Number 10. He offers quiet support. You won't always hear him offering advice out loud, but you'll feel his quiet encouragement. He may nod, hold eye contact, or offer a steady presence during someone else's emotional moment. He doesn't rush others to move on or get over it. He knows the value of simply being there. That steadiness feels rare, and in a world of constant noise and opinions, it's a gift. Number 2. The quietly confident man. Confidence doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to dominate a room or drown others out. In fact, some of the most impactful individuals move through life with a quiet sense of assurance, a calm strength that others feel rather than hear. This is the quietly confident man. He's not the loudest. He's not seeking attention, but when he walks in, something changes. Not because he tries to change the room, but because he doesn't have to. His self-assurance is grounded, unshakable, and often transformative for those around him. Let's explore why the quietly confident man leaves such a lasting impression, and how his traits reveal an inner strength that speaks volumes without raising his voice. Number 1. He knows his worth without needing validation. The quietly confident man doesn't constantly seek approval. He doesn't need to prove his intelligence, his accomplishments, or his experiences. He knows what he brings to the table, and knowledge is enough. While others may crave attention or applause, has content with quiet recognition, or none at all. His self-worth comes from internal clarity, not external praise. Number 2. He listens more than he speaks. Confidence isn't about dominating conversations. It's about understanding when to speak and when to listen. The quietly confident man listens attentively, with presence and patience. This doesn't mean he's passive. Rather, it shows respect. He understands that listening builds trust. And when he does speak, his words carry weight because they're chosen thoughtfully. Number 3. He doesn't boast or brag, but his actions speak. The quietly confident man doesn't need to recite his achievements. His track record, habits, and way of living reflect his character far more than self-promotion ever could. He lets results, not rhetoric, tell the story. Others respect him for what he does, not what he claims. Number 4. He's calm under pressure. You'll often find the quietly confident man steady in moments of stress. His calm isn't forced. It's a product of he understands that panic doesn't solve problems. His composite nature doesn't mean he lacks emotion. It means he's disciplined enough not to let emotions dictate every reaction. Number 5. He respects himself and others. True confidence includes humility. The quietly confident man doesn't see himself as above others. He recognizes everyone has strengths, and he respects them. He also respects boundaries, time, and values, both his own and others. You'll rarely find him interrupting, belittling, or pushing someone just to prove a point. Number 6. He owns his mistakes without excuses. When something goes wrong, he doesn't shift blame. He doesn't hide. The quietly confident man takes responsibility, learns from the setback, and moves forward without drama. He knows that growth comes from honesty, and that admitting a mistake isn't a weakness, it's a strength rooted in accountability. Number 7. He doesn't compete with others, only with himself. He isn't concerned with outperforming people. He's on becoming a better version of himself. His inner drive makes him quiet like a stunt. You won't see him chasing comparison. He's walking his own path, and he walks it with quiet purpose. Number 8. He's comfortable in his own skin. Whether he's in a room full of strangers or simply spending time alone, the quietly confident man remains grounded. He doesn't adapt just to please others or seek validation. He's authentic. He's not afraid of silence. In fact, silence is often where his clarity sharpens. He's comfortable not always being on. Number 9. He values depth over noise. The quietly confident man prefers meaningful conversations over empty chatter. He's not one for small talk or flashy displays. Instead, he brings depth to interactions. He asks thoughtful questions. He offers sincere encouragement and he pays not for advantage but because he genuinely cares. Number 10. He has nothing to prove. Ultimately, the quietly confident man isn't on a mission to impress. He doesn't need to. His strength is subtle but real. It doesn't demand attention, but it earns. Respect is confident isn't tied to image or performance. It's rooted in who he is, not in what others think of him. Number 3. The deep thinker. Why this type of older man draws genuine admiration. In today's fast-paced surface-level world, depth stands out. Among the many traits that quietly attract admiration, especially from those younger and still finding their way. The presence of a deep thinker is one of the most profoundly respected. He doesn't shout for attention. He doesn't live for trends, but somehow his presence lingers. He inspires not with flash, but with insight. He's the kind of man younger women and people in general naturally gravitate toward because of the depth he carries within. This article explores why the deep thinker holds such quiet influence and how his inner world often speaks louder than words. 1. He asks questions that matter. The deep thinker doesn't settle for small talk. While he can handle casual conversations, what sets him apart is his desire to explore what lies beneath the surface. He might ask, "What's something you've learned the hard way?" Or, "What do you think makes life meaningful?" Younger women and people of all ages find this kind of questioning refreshing. It shows that he's genuinely interested in understanding, not just responding. It also creates space for real connection and reflection. 2. He's not in a hurry to speak. In a world full of fast opinions, the deep thinker is deliberate. He pauses before answering. He chooses words carefully, not to impress, but to communicate clearly. This thoughtful silence signals self-control and awareness. It shows that he values understanding more than being right. That kind of patience in conversation creates safety and invites others to speak freely. 3. He reflects rather than reacts. Where others react impulsively, the deep thinker reflects quietly. If someone disagrees with him, he listens. If something unexpected happens, he doesn't overreact. Instead, he asks himself, what's really happening here? What can I learn from this? Younger women, especially those still learning how to handle life's challenges, often find comfort in this kind of steadiness. He becomes someone they feel grounded around not because he controls anything but because he controls himself. 4. He sees beyond the obvious. The deep thinker notices what others overlook. He finds meaning in moments, patterns in behavior, and lessons in failure. This makes his perspective especially valuable, not because it's flashy, but because it's rich with insight. When he shares what he sees, it often causes others to pause and say, "I never thought of it that way." That ability to widen someone's perspective is rare and deeply appreciated. 5. He learns continuously. For the deep thinker, learning doesn't stop with age. Whether he's reading philosophy, listening to lectures, writing in a journal, or just observing world around him, he's always absorbing something that creates a quiet humility. He doesn't pretend to know everything. In fact, he's more curious than certain. That ongoing pursuit of knowledge makes him engaging to borrow. He's someone you can learn from not because he lectures but because he lives thoughtfully. 6. He values solitude, not isolation. The deep thinker isn't antisocial, he simply values time alone. It's during those quiet hours that he reflects, reads, and watches. His comfort in solitude shows emotional independence. Younger women who respect introspection often admire this trait. It signals thought is not chasing approval, and that he understands himself well enough to enjoy his own company. That kind of self-respect is powerful. 7. He brings depth to relationships. All of them, whether it's a professional connect, a friendship, or even just a conversation with a stranger. The deep thinker brings more than politeness. He brings presence. He listens without judgment. He remembers what you've said. He asks how you really feel, not just how your day went. These small acts of attention build trust, because they show not interacting on autopilot. 8. He's not easily influenced by trends or noise. The deep thinker is sure to sway. He doesn't buy into what's popular unless it aligns with his principles. He's not afraid to stand apart from the crowd. That kind of integrity, especially in today's world, stands out. Younger women, often navigating the pressures of conformity, often see him as a compass, not because it tells them what to do, but because he models how to live with inner alignment. 9. He lives with intention. There's a reason behind what he does. He doesn't drift. He chooses his priorities carefully and honors them, whether he's building something meaningful, mentoring others, or simply spending a quiet afternoon reading. He shows that a thoughtful life is a fulfilling life. That sense of purpose is quietly inspiring. It reminds others, including younger women, that maturity doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means choosing it with clarity. 10. He doesn't try to impress. He simply shows up authentically. Perhaps the most attractive trait of all, the deep thinker isn't trying to win attention. He doesn't pretend. He doesn't perform. He simply shows up as he is. Curious, thoughtful, grounded, in a world of polished images and exaggerated confidence. His quiet authenticity is a breath of fresh air. It invites others to drop their guard, and that more than any smooth, linear, fancy gesture, builds connection. Number 4, the respectful mentor type. Why he stands out. There's a quiet, commanding presence that some individuals naturally possess. They don't try to dominate the room with volume or bravado. Instead, they lead through example, wisdom, and a calm strength. These are the mentor types, especially those who are respectful, grounded, and deeply self. Their appeal is not rooted in appearance, charm, or trendiness. It's built on how they carry themselves and how they uplift others. This type of man, often older, seasoned, and thoughtful, can have a profoundly magnetic presence, not because he's trying to attract attention, but because he has something that many people quietly long for: stability, insight, and a deep sense of respect for others. Let's explore the specific reasons why the respectful mentor type is so compelling and how his energy fosters trust, growth, and admiration. Number 1, he leads without ego. The respectful mentor doesn't need to prove his intelligence or authority. He leads without belittling others or making himself the center of attention. His leadership style is grounded in service, offering guidance only when asked and never assuming superiority. He listens first. He offers suggestions with humility. And even when others look to him for direction, he doesn't impose, he inspires. Number 2, he values others' growth, not control. This type of man is committed to others' personal and professional development. But unlike those who manipulate under the guise of helping, the mentor type encourages independence. He doesn't see people as extensions of himself. He wants them to flourish in their own right, in their own voice. That's why people feel safe and empowered in his presence. Number 3, he's emotionally measured and steady. One of his most admired traits is emotional regulation. He rarely reacts impulsively. He pauses, reflects, and chooses responses with intention. This calm presence makes him a grounding force in difficult moments. His stability provides a sense of clarity and security for those around him. In a world full of chaos and impulsivity, this quality alone is magnetic. Number 4, he listens with the intent to understand. Many people listen just enough to reply. The respectful mentor type listens to understand. He gives his full attention. He doesn't interrupt. He asks thoughtful follow-up questions, and he makes others feel heard, not just acknowledged. This kind of presence is rare, and it's what builds lasting trust. Conversations with him feel meaningful, not rushed or surface level. Number 5, he respects boundaries always. Respect is not just something he talks about, it's something he lives. He honors people's personal space, emotional limits, and autonomy. Whether it's a colleague, friend, or mentee, he knows where the line is, and he never crosses it. That's why people feel safe sharing things with him they might not share with anyone else. It's not about earning favor, it's about honoring the dignity of the individual. Number 6, he's guided by principles, not applause. The respectful mentor isn't driven by popularity or his decisions come from a clear internal compass. He chooses what's right over what's easy. He keeps his word even when no one's watching. He practices quiet integrity that more than any speech or gesture makes people look up to him. Number 7, he offers wisdom without preaching. His advice comes in the form of gentle nudges, not lectures. He shares stories from his own life, not just abstract theories. He acknowledges past mistakes, which makes him relatable, not self-righteous. He doesn't pretend to know everything, and that humility makes people lean in when he does speak. Number 8, he sees potential others overlook. A defining feature of the mentor type is his ability to spot the hidden strengths in others. He sees what people could become even when they doubt themselves. He points out qualities others miss. He offers encouragement not to flatter, but to awaken confidence. And he plants seeds of belief that often bloom long after he's walked away. And number 9, he doesn't need the spotlight. He's perfectly comfortable behind the scenes. In fact, he thrives there. He's not chasing recognition. His joy comes from seeing others succeed. He uplifts others without needing credit. And that quiet generosity makes his presence even more powerful. And number 10, he teaches by how he lives. What makes the respectful mentor type admirable is that his life is the lesson. His consistency, his decency, his quiet strength, they speak louder than any motivational talk could. People learn from his actions, from how he treats others, from how he shows up every day. Disciplined, kind, intentional. His life sets a silent standard, and others naturally rise to meet. Number 5, the purpose-driven man. Why he stands out and commands respect without saying a word. In a world full of distractions, noise, and endless scrolling, a man with purpose walks a different path. He doesn't just exist. He lives with intention. He's not running on autopilot or following the crowd. His energy is different and people feel it even before he speaks. Especially younger people, including women, often recognize and respect something steady and magnetic about him. A purpose-driven man doesn't live for approval, nor is he swayed by temporary trends. He is anchored, and that sense of groundedness draws people in, not through charm or attention-seeking but through the quiet power of a meaningful life. Here are the reasons why a purpose-driven man naturally stands out and why his presence is often deeply admired. 1. He lives with direction, not distraction. While many people chase short-term pleasure or external validation, the man wakes up each day with a sense of why. That why may be his craft, his community, his mission, or a cause bigger than himself. His energy is fused. He doesn't get pulled into petty drama or shallow pursuits because he knows where he's going. This clarity of direction is rare, and it shows in how he speaks, how he carries himself, and how he spends his time. 2. He builds rather than consumes. He's not just reacting to the world, he's contributing to it, whether he's writing, teaching, mentoring, designing, creating, or leading. He's in the business of building. His life is an act of creation, not passive consumption. This kind of presence feels inspiring to be around. It invites others to reflect on their own path and become more intentional in their own lives. Younger women in particular often find this deeply admirable, not because he's flashy, but because he's focused. 3. He doesn't seek validation. Purpose is inward driven. A man living from his purpose doesn't ask, will this impress others? He asks, is this aligned with who I am? That self-assurance is powerful, not arrogant, but quietly confident. People are drawn to those who don't need attention to feel valuable. His confidence comes from within, not from social status or approval, and that self-contained strength feels authentic and trustworthy. 4. He has resilience in his eyes. Life tests everyone, but a purpose-driven man doesn't crumble under pressure. He adapts, learns, and continues. Setbacks don't define him because he's not here for short wins. He's playing the long game. That resilience becomes visible over time, in how he walks, speaks, and faces life's uncertainties. It makes him a source of calm and steadiness. People often turn to him in times of confusion, not because he has all the answers, but because he doesn't panic. 5. He's rarely bored. When you're driven by purpose, boredom rarely visits. There's always something to refine, something to study, something to build. He's not the kind to sit idle for long or drown in distractions. His days are filled with forward motion, measured and deliberate. This internal motivation is energizing. It keeps him youthful, not in appearance, but in mindset. Younger people can feel that he's active, engaged, and alive without needing outside stimulation to feel that way. 6. He gives without needing recognition. A man with purpose doesn't give to be praised. He gives because it aligns with who he is. Whether he's mentoring someone younger, volunteering time, or helping quietly behind the scenes, he contributes because it's part of his identity. This generosity, when not attached to ego, leaves a lasting impression. Younger women and men alike recognize that this is rare in a world of look-at-me behavior. His kindness doesn't shout, it simply shows up. 7. He's comfortable with delayed gratification. He doesn't need instant results to stay. Whether it's a long-term business, a personal goal, or a community project, he's in it for the process. He doesn't abandon the journey when it gets hard. He adapts, This kind of commitment is rare today. It reveals discipline, patience, and vision. These qualities inspire trust not because he says the right things but because he lives them. 8. He brings depth to conversation. Because he spends time reflecting, studying, and building. His conversations aren't surface level. He asks thoughtful questions. He listens more than he speaks. When he shares, it often comes from experience, not opinion. This depth creates space for meaningful connection. People remember the way they felt in his presence, heard, seen, and respected. That kind of energy stands out more than any flasher personality ever could. 9. He has boundaries, not walls. A purpose-driven man knows his limits. He protects his time, energy, and mental space not out of coldness, but out of clarity. He doesn't allow chaos or manipulation to take root in his life. This shows in how he navigates relationships, conversations, and commitments. His boundaries are clear, kind, and firm. That steadiness builds respect. It shows he values himself and others enough to be honest about where he stands. 10. His legacy matters more than his ego. He's not chasing praise. He's thinking about what he'll leave behind. His choice reflects this long view. He's focused on making a lasting impact, not gaining temporary attention. Whether through mentoring, creation, leadership, or quiet consistency, he's planting seeds that will outlast him. This kind of man reminds others, especially younger people, that life isn't just about today. It's about building something meaningful and staying true to it. Number 6. The calm listener. In a world that often celebrates those who speak the loudest or demand attention, there's something deeply attractive on an emotional and human level about someone who listens with calm presence. The calm listener is not flashy or performative. They don't interrupt, dominate the space, or steer conversations back to themselves. Instead, their presence creates a rare kind of peace that invites openness, trust, and reflection. Let's explore what makes the calm listener stand out and why people are naturally drawn to them. 1. They make you feel heard, not judged. The calm listener gives you space to express yourself without fear of being misunderstood or criticized. Their silence isn't passive, it's attentive. They're not just waiting for their turn to talk. They're genuinely absorbing what you're saying. This kind of listening builds emotional safety. When someone listens without jumping in to offer fixes or counterpoints, it communicates you matter. I value your perspective. That's rare and powerful. 2. They're not in a rush to fill the silence. Many people feel uncomfortable with silence, but the calm listener sees silence as a natural part of conversation, not something that must be avoided. They're comfortable allowing amendment to settle, letting your words breathe before responding. That patience signals maturity and presence. It allows conversations to unfold organically rather than being pushed or controlled. You never feel pressured to perform when you're with them. 3. They focus their attention fully on you. The calm listener isn't distracted. They're not checking their phone, scanning the room, or mentally preparing a rebuttal while you speak. They're right there with you in the moment. That full attention is rare in modern life. It conveys deep respect. Even if no grand words are spoken, it's in their eyes, their stillness, their nod of quiet understanding, for they don't interrupt. While many people speak over others without meaning to, the calm listener exercises a quiet discipline. They let others finish their thoughts. They wait for the full picture bare, offering their response. This makes their feedback feel more thoughtful and more valuable. You know they've taken in what you said, not just fragments of it. 5. They listen with their whole body. You can often tell when someone is truly listening, not just by their words, but by their posture, their facial expressions, and their stillness. The calm listener leans in slightly, makes eye contact without staring, and gives gentle cues of understanding. They don't fidget or glance around impatiently. Their body mirrors their intention to be present with you. 6. They don't try to own up. There's no competition in a conversation with a calm listener. If you share a story, they don't immediately counter with a bigger or better one of their own. If you express frustration, they don't diminish it by comparing it to something worse. Instead, they hold space for what you're feeling or experiencing without needing to redirect spotlight. 7. They ask gentle, thoughtful questions. The calm listener doesn't just nod and move on. They engage, but gently. Their questions come from a place of care and curiosity, not interrogation. They might ask, "How did that feel for you?" Or what do you think you'll do next? Simple, open-ended questions that let you lead the conversation. This kind of support helps people think more clearly even about their own situations. 8. They let the conversation flow naturally. Some people guide conversations like a checklist, jumping from topic to topic without letting anything land. The calm listener, however, lets conversations meander. They trust that meaningful moments often come from the pauses and detours, not from structure or speed. With them, there's no pressure to rush to a point. You're free to explore as they come. 9. They respect boundaries. The calm listener doesn't push people to open up before they're ready. They understand that some stories, emotions, or decisions take time to share. Their stillness and calmness act like an open door, not aidment, because they don't press or pry. People often find themselves naturally wanting to share more. The calm listener becomes someone you feel safe confiding them, simply because they honor your timing and space. 10. They bring a sense of inner stillness to others. Perhaps the most powerful effect of the calm listener is how they make others feel. Their presence is grounding. In a world that can feel chaotic, performative, or rushed, they offer a quiet place. Tourist. People walk away from conversations with them feeling lighter, more centered, and more understood. They don't need to fix or solve everything. They simply offer their attention as a gift. Number 7. The well-mannered gentleman. Why his presence still stands out in a modern world in a time where speed and surface often overshadow substance. The well-mannered gentleman still carries a touch. He doesn't command attention through volume, wealth, or appearance, but through grace, character, and the way he treats others. Younger women often notice him not because he demands to be noticed, but because he carries a quiet dignity that's increasingly rare. This type of man isn't old-fashioned in the outdated sense. He's relevant, aware, and grounded. His manners are not performative. They are not tools of charm or manipulation. They are expressions of deep-rooted values shaped by life, experience, self-awareness, and respect for others. Here are some why the well-mannered gentleman stands out and why people, including younger women, often feel drawn to him in a deeply human and respectful way. 1. He treats everyone with equal respect. Whether he's speaking to the CEO or the server clearing his table, his tone and attention don't change. He doesn't switch personas depending on who's watching. This consistency builds trust and makes others feel safe in his presence. For younger women who may be used to superficial treatment based on age or appearance, this kind of steady respect can be refreshing. It's not about favoritism. It's about honoring people as individuals regardless of status. 2. He understands the power of small gestures, holding the door, offering a seat, giving someone their full attention in conversation. These aren't dramatic actions, but they leave a lasting impression. They signal on a crucial thing. I see you. You matter. In a fast-paced world where many feel overlooked, those small moments of attention and courtesy speak volumes, and they aren't flirtatious, they're simply thoughtful. 3. He listens more than he talks. A well-mannered gentleman doesn't interrupt. He doesn't steer conversations toward himself. Instead, he listens fully, patiently, and without checking his phone every 5 seconds. Younger women, like anyone, want to feel heard, not fixed, interrupted, or judged. This kind of listening creates space for authentic connection and mutual respect. It communicates, I'm here with you, not ahead of you. 4. He has tact even disagreement. When conversations get tense, he doesn't escalate, he doesn't belittle, he responds rather than react. His emotional maturity allows him to speak truth without hostility and to disagree without disrespect. This kind of calm, respectful disagreement is rare. It fosters safety in conversation. Sure, others, especially younger women, can express opinions without fear of condescension or conflict. 5. He keeps his promises, big and small. A well-mannered gentleman doesn't overpromise. If he says he'll do something, he does it. His word means something, not because he wants praise, but because he values integrity. This reliability is deeply attractive, not romantically necessarily, but in a trust-based human sense. It says, you can count on me. That kind of trust is a rare gift. 6. He's comfortable being polite without expecting praise. He doesn't say thank you or excuse me to be applauded. He says it because it's part of who he is. Politeness isn't arbitrary, it's a reflection of his values. He's not trying to earn points or impress anyone. Younger women often pick up on this because sincerity is he's not performing. He's practicing humanity. 7. He's calm in his movements and speech. You'll rarely see him rushing, yelling, or creating drama. Even in crowded rooms or stressful situations, he seems composed. His body language is relaxed but attentive. He isn't trying to dominate space. He inhabits it. This calm energy creates an atmosphere of peace. It allows people, especially those who are younger or more anxious, to relax around him. He leads not by control but by example. 9. He doesn't use kindness. True manners come from empathy, not strategy. A well-mannered gentleman doesn't use politeness as a bargaining chip. He doesn't expect special treatment in return. His actions are generous and self-contained. This means others, especially younger women, feel safe around him. He doesn't give to get, he gives because that's who he is. 10. He honors boundaries without question. He doesn't pressure, he doesn't probe where he's not invited. Whether in conversation, physical proximity, or emotional sharing, he respects space. This quality is essential. In an age of blurred boundaries and rushed intimacy, his patience and attentiveness offer something rare, the gift of feeling safe and not judged. He doesn't push his presence, he lets it be invited. 10. He makes others feel dignified. At the core of all his mannerisms, his listening, kindness, and composure is a deep respect for human dignity. People walk away from interactions with him more confident, not less. He doesn't seek to impress, he seeks to uplift. This kind of presence, one that adds rather than subtracts, is universally admired. It builds bridges across generations without effort. Number 8. The emotionally intelligent man. 10 quiet strengths that set him apart. In a world where loud opinions and reactive behaviors often dominate conversions, the emotionally intelligent man moves differently. His presence is calm, his words measured, and his actions aligned with deep self-awareness. He doesn't chase validation or dominate spaces. He understands himself and respects others. Emotional intelligence is not about emotion, it's about understanding it, managing it, and using it wisely. Let's explore the qualities that make an emotionally intelligent man stand out, not through noise, but through depth, grace, and quiet power. 1. He recognizes and regulates his emotions. The emotionally intelligent man isn't ruled by impulse. He experiences emotion like anyone else. Frustration, sadness, excitement, but he doesn't allow these feelings to control him. Instead, he names them, understands their source, and chooses his response carefully. He doesn't raise his voice just because he's angry. He doesn't shut down just because he's disappointed. His ability to pause, reflect, and act thoughtfully is one of his strongest qualities. 2. He listens with the intent to understand, not just to reply. When he listens, he's fully present. He's not waiting for his turn to speak. He's not formulating a counterpoint in his head. He's hearing you, your tone, your words, your silence. Emotionally intelligent men listen in a way that makes others feel seen and respected. Their presence alone feels safe because they're not trying to fix you, impress you, or argue with you. They're simply with you. 3. He's comfortable with vulnerability, but not reckless with it. He understands that vulnerability is not weakness. He's not afraid to say, I was wrong, I don't know, or, that hurt. But he also doesn't spill every emotion to everyone. He chooses carefully who to share with and when. His strength lies in his self-trust. He doesn't armor up emotionally, nor does he overshare. He owns his story without letting it define him or burden others unnecessarily. 4. He sets boundaries without guilt. Emotionally intelligent men know their limits, and they honor them. They don't say yes out of obligation or fear of disappointing others. They say yes when they mean it, and no when they need to. But even their no is respectful. They don't ghost, manipulate, or guilt others. They communicate their boundaries clearly, kindly, and consistently. 5. He responds. He doesn't react. There's a pause before he speaks, one that signals depth rather than hesitation. When things get tense, he stays grounded. When others get emotional, he doesn't absorb the energy or escalate it. Instead, he creates emotional clarity in chaotic situations. He knows that strength lies not in overpowering others, but in managing himself. 6. He's aware of how his presence affects others. He's emotionally attuned not just to himself, but to the space he's in. He can sense when someone is uncomfortable, overwhelmed, or in need of encouragement. He adjusts his approach accordingly, not to control others, but to make them feel respected. He doesn't need the spotlight, but when he's in it, he carries it with grace. He makes others feel like they matter, not through grand gestures, but through genuine attention. 7. He doesn't shame others for feeling deeply because he has faced his own emotions with honesty. He doesn't judge others for theirs. If someone cries, struggles, or gets overwhelmed, he doesn't flinch or shame them. He sees emotional expression as a part of the human experience, not something to mock, dismiss, or correct. His come from pity, it comes from respect. 8. He grows from conflict, not just peace. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't avoid conflict, but he also doesn't seek to win it. He views disagreements as a path to deeper understanding, not personal attacks. When things get hard, he doesn't disappear or retaliate. He leans into the conversation, asks good questions, and stays open. He's willing to be wrong. He's willing to grow and have a loose connection over being right. 9. He's grounded in self-awareness, not ego. He doesn't walk into the room trying to prove something. He's not chasing approval or trying to outperform others. He knows who he is and he leads from that place. This kind of man can admit flaws without shame and recognize strengths without arrogance. He doesn't need applause to feel validated. His inner compass is enough. 10. He practices quiet integrity even when no one's watching. Perhaps this mark of an emotionally intelligent man is how he behaves when no one's watching. He honors promises. He tells the truth. He's accountable. He doesn't pretend to be perfect, but he does strive to be consistent. His values aren't performative. They're lived. 9. The man who values inner peace. In a fast-paced world filled with noise, pressure, and endless competition, there is something quietly powerful about a man who values his inner peace. He is not the loudest in the room, nor is he chasing the next big trend. His presence is calm, steady, and deeply rooted in a sense of internal balance. This type of man draws people in, not with flashy gestures, but with deep and unwavering calm he carries within. Younger women and people in general often find themselves naturally drawn to this type of man, not because he tries to impress anyone, but because his peaceful nature offers something that feels rare and refreshing. Here are the key reasons why a man who values inner peace stands out. 1. He creates a calming presence. You can feel it when he enters the room. The atmosphere shifts. There's no rush in his manner, no hidden agenda in his conversation. He brings calm, not chaos, for people who feel overwhelmed by fast decisions, constant distractions, or emotional instability. His grounded presence is like a breath of fresh air. He's the kind of person you want to sit next to when life feels uncertain, not because he has all the answers, but that he doesn't panic while searching for them. 2. He's not controlled by ego. Men who value peace over pride don't need to win every argument or prove their worth through external validation. He doesn't take offense easily. He knows when to speak and when to let things go. He doesn't need to show he's right all the time because his self-worth isn't built on dominating others. That quiet humility can be deeply attractive, especially in a world where egos clash constantly. His peace and weakness, its strength mastered through self-awareness. 3. He's emotionally consistent. This man doesn't swing wildly between moods. He has emotions, of course, but they didn't rule him. He takes time to process, reflect, and respond, not just react. That consistency is comforting, especially for those who have experienced emotional unpredictability, relationships or friendships. People around him feel emotionally safe, knowing they won't be met with outbursts or silent resentment. He's predictable in the best way, dependable, steady, and kind. 4. He protects his boundaries gently. He knows his limits and respects them. He doesn't overextend himself to please others, nor does he allow people to take advantage of him. He's not afraid to say no, not rudely, but respectfully. His inner peace depends on balance, and that true kindness includes honoring his own space. This teaches those around him a valuable lesson. Peace isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about being clear with your values and calmly standing by them. 5. He's selective with his energy. You won't find him arguing online or chasing meaningless conversations. He doesn't gossip, doesn't seek attention, and doesn't waste time on things that don't align with his values. He conserves his energy for what matters: relationships, growth, purpose, and presence. This makes him feel intentional, not cold, but careful. His attention feels like a gift, not a habit. When he listens, you'll feel heard. When he speaks, you know he's thought it through. 6. He has apropos, beyond the moment. Inner peace often comes from knowing what you stand for. This man usually has a sense of purpose that guides his life, whether it's serving his community, raising a family, mentoring others, or simply walking a meaningful path. He's not drifting, he's not bored, he's anchored. Younger women may be drawn to this sense of clarity, not because he's trying to lead them, but because he inspires others to find their own path as well. 7. He doesn't compete, he cooperates. He's not in constant comparison with others. He doesn't see every interaction as a battle for dominance or approval. Instead, he looks for harmony. He believes in win-win situations. He builds others up instead of tearing them down. His version of strength is inclusive, not competitive. This cooperative spirit feels refreshing, especially in environments where people are always trying to own up each other. 8. He embraces silence and stillness. He's not afraid of quiet. He doesn't rush to fill every pause with chatter. He enjoys moments of reflection and solitude, whether it's walking in nature, meditating, reading, or just sitting in peace. He values silence as a space for growth and clarity. Younger people, often bombarded by constant stimulation, find this ability to be alone and be content with it. His silence speaks volumes. 9. He's not trying to impress anyone. There's no performance, no hidden motives. He's not dressing to be noticed or speaking to be admired. He shows up as himself, flaws and all. This kind of authenticity stands out in a world built in image and performance. He's not indifferent. He's real. And in that realness, he creates comfort. Others feel free to be themselves around him because he's not measuring them or putting on a show. 10. He brings peace, not pressure. He doesn't rush connections. He doesn't force outcomes, whether in relationships, conversations, or daily interactions. He gives people space to be. This absence of pressure allows others to breathe, to think clearly, and to show up authentically. For younger women or anyone, really who have felt overwhelmed by expectations, this non-pressuring presence is not just rare, but healing. Number 10. The authentic one. Why authenticity is so rare and so magnetic. In a world full of filters, facades, and constant performance, the truly authentic person stands out not because they shout the loudest, but because they didn't need to shout at all. They carry a quiet strength, a grounded presence, and an unwavering sense of self. The authentic one is not concerned with pretending to be perfect. Instead, they are deeply comfortable being real. Let's explore the reasons why people are naturally drawn to someone who lives and speaks from a place of sincerity, and why authenticity, without needing to impress, is such a rare and deeply admired quality. Number 1. They're comfortable in their own skin. Authentic individuals don't try to shrink or stretch themselves to fit others' expectations. You won't see them overcompensating to win approval or validation. They've taken the time to understand who they are, strengths, flaws, quirks, and all, and they accept. This self-acceptance radiates a sense of ease. Whether they're dressed simply or speaking plainly, people sense they are not trying to be someone else. That comfort is contagious. When you're around someone at peace with themselves, it makes you feel more at ease with yourself, too. Number 2. They speak truthfully but kindly. An authentic person doesn't hide behind half-truths or say what people want to hear. Instead, they speak with clarity, even when it's not the easiest thing to say. What sets them apart is how they do it with kindness and care. Never harshness or arrogance. Their honesty is not performative or self-serving. It's rooted in integrity. People may not always agree with what they say, but they respect that it comes from a thoughtful and honest place. Number 3. They're not trying to impress you. You'll rarely see them name-dropping, exaggerating, or constantly talking about achievements. They don't rely on charm, status, or popularity to build connections. The authentic one simply shows up as they are, allowing others to form their own opinions. This kind of humility is rare and powerful. In a culture where so many strive to prove their worth, the one who has nothing to prove stands out. Number 4. They are emotionally grounded. Rather than reacting impulsively to praise or criticism, the authentic one stays balanced. They're not easily flattered or rattled. That emotional steadiness shows maturity. It tells others they are trustworthy and safe to be around. They've likely faced struggles, setbacks, and even rejection. But they've used those experiences to grow, rather than to become defensive or bitter. This gives them a quiet resilience that earns respect. Number 5, they value depth over performance. In conversation, they don't dominate or seek the spotlight. Instead, they're genuinely interested in hearing others, asking thoughtful questions, and connecting on a real level. They'd rather have one meaningful conversation than 10 superficial ones. This depth doesn't come from trying to be deep. It comes from living with intention. Their thoughts and words come from reflection, not from rehearsed lines. Number 6, they don't mirror the crowd. Trends don't define them. Whether it's in how they speak, dress, or think, they're guided by their own values. That doesn't mean they reject everything mainstream, but they're not shaped by it either. This originality isn't loud or rebellious. It's quiet and firm. They didn't follow for the sake of fitting in. They follow what's true for them, even when it sets them apart. Number 7, they show rather than tell. The authentic one doesn't need to convince others of their goodness, talent, or wisdom. Instead, these qualities come through naturally in how they treat others, how they handle adversity, and how consistently they live their values. They don't talk about their character, they live it. And people notice, even when the authentic one never seeks applause. Number 8, they're present, truly present. In a world of distractions, being fully present is rare, but the authentic one listens without checking their phone. They look people in the eye, not because they were told it's polite, but because they care. Their presence feels focused and intentional. You feel seen and heard around them, not judged or rushed. Number 9, they embrace their imperfections. They don't pretend to have it all figured out. In fact, they're open about their learning process, mistakes, or things they're still working through. This vulnerability is not weakness, it's courage. It invites others to let go of their own perfection masks. In the authentic one's presence, you feel like it's okay to be real. Number 10. They make integrity look effortless. At their core, the authentic one lives in alignment. What they say, believe, and do are not in conflict. Even when no one is watching, they honor their principles. They may not be flashy, but there's something quietly admirable in how they carry themselves. It's the consistency, the lack of pretense, the small, solid actions that add up to a meaningful life. Why people are drawn to the authentic one? It's simple. Being around someone who is fully themselves gives others permission to do the same. You don't have to perform, pretend, or prove anything. You can just be. The authentic one doesn't manipulate, posture, or control how they are perceived, and in doing so, they earn a kind of admiration that's built not on surface charm, but on trust, respect, and presence. They may not stand out at first glance, but over time, they're the ones people turn to and quietly admire.